mean, some of these stands, they can get it.
Oh, yeah. Star Platinum can get it. Magician's Red,
Red
honestly
can get it. Hierophant Green can get it. Silver Chariot can get it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we highlight and discuss new series each week. But today, we're back with Volume 1's Bizarre Adventure.
Woo!
Which means that my name is Josh Good Grief Michaels, and I am joined by
Mehgan and Perrine.
Mehgan and Perrine. Sounds like Mehgan Stand Perrine. Am I right?
Don't make me whip it out. Don't make me whip it out.
Thank you for tuning in to another Volume 1's Bizarre Adventure, more specifically. Today, we will be talking about Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. We're going to be talking about the first half of the series. And if you tuned into our previous episode that we did on the series, today we have a little bit of a different perspective since we watched the anime as opposed to reading it. In the last episode, we talked a lot about just my mostly, I think, personal experience with reading versus watching, and I was very confused. I reached out to our community. I reached out to some other people who were fans of the series, and thankfully, my sort of paranoia was brought down. I was walked back a little bit from the edge of the cliff.
You were humbled. I'm just kidding.
Well, not humbled, but
I'm just kidding.
Just to catch you up, if you didn't see that episode, basically, I part 2, I read most of it. I watched a couple episodes here and there. We watched a couple episodes,
but mainly, we read it.
But mostly, we read it, and having not much experience with the series, I was a bit confused because, first of all, I didn't really connect with it. I had a hard time connecting with it. And, when I went online to look at other people's reactions and other people's feelings to the series, it seemed as if this part was pretty high in everybody's list. So it made me feel like there was something that
something wrong with you.
Right, that there wasn't something I wasn't getting, and especially because this part in people's lists seemed to be pretty low. So it had me feeling like, I didn't really connect with part 2. It's high in people's lists, and part 3 is coming up next, and it's pretty low. So if I didn't connect with the previous part, then I'm not. How much am I going to connect with this part?
Yeah. And
I just have to say, I freaking loved it.
Yeah, I did really enjoy this part. It wasn't so much that it was like I was feeling like Carrie, you're feeling, because when I was reading it, again, like there's just this air about Jojo. There's bizarre things happen.
Yeah, you kept saying that in the last episode.
I'll say it again.
Didn't make anything.
I'll say it again.
Better.
I'll say it again. But I had a good time reading it, and watching it was just a whole different experience. And going into part 3, especially with all of these new things being introduced, these new concepts being introduced to us, all these different places that we go, I just think the anime really, really knocks it out of the park. I mean, the music, the colors, the sound,
the performances from the voice actors too, and the dub. We watched the dub, and it was fantastic. I'm sure the sub is great too, the original Japanese VAs are fantastic, but the dub was out of control. It was so good. It was so crazy. It was so hilarious. It was so funny. And I felt like I was able to get it. And we will talk about it coming up. We will talk about what people's issues with this season or this part were. More specifically, I should have said this earlier in the episode, but we are going to be talking about episodes 1 through 24, which is halfway through the part. If you're looking for a different landmark, it's basically this part will cover their journey to Egypt, and then the next episode will cover everything past that point once they've already arrived in Egypt.
Yeah, the last episode, I think 24, they arrive, and then they ends.
Arrived.
Yeah.
And I do understand, and we'll talk more about it, why everybody not everybody. I don't mean to generalize, but I do feel like there are a lot of people in the fandom that don't really like this part. And I think more specifically, it might be that it's not that they don't like this part, but it's that they don't like this part of this part. Because it felt very episodic and very monster of the week, and it just felt like they were fighting a different stand user every episode, and the plot wasn't really being progressed or moved forward very much, which I completely understand. But I do think in terms of like capturing the energy, capturing the feeling, capturing the humor, capturing just the charm of JoJo, the anime did such a fantastic job. And for me personally, it was night and day from the anime to the manga, which kind of makes me want to go back and watch part 2 at some point.
Yeah. I understand why that would be maybe a negative to this part, this first part, but I really enjoyed it. I thought I've never seen this in an anime or manga this much before. Going to real life places. I loved all of the little like facts that they would give you when they entered a new place, the people, the music, like customs, this like English guy thinking that he knows everything about the world when he really doesn't know anything. It just made me feel really invested in like their journey overall. And I thought this was important just because like stands are so new to, us as like watchers and readers of JoJo. So I think it was definitely purposeful to have this full part just being fights against stands to like understand them more.
To understand them more.
And it was, again, like it would be way more of an issue for me if there were maybe similar stands or they weren't as fucking cool as they are. Maybe that's where I would kind of get fatigued. But I definitely like this part better than part 2 so far, just because it wasn't like a fight against these otherworldly creatures that are, thousands of years old. We'll get to that part when we fight Dio, of course, but, it wasn't just that. It was like, these are regular people with these abilities. Anyone could have the upper hand, I guess, depending. And it was just, it lent itself more to like me being really invested in these people.
I just want to say that I feel like I finally am starting to get it and understand it. And if there's anybody out there who hasn't connected with JoJo for whatever reason, I can't imagine that you'd be watching this. But if for whatever reason you are and you haven't been able to successfully connect with JoJo, make sure you get to part 3 and try watching it if you're only reading it, because for me, that's what it was. That helped. That was what it was, and that worked for me. It might not work for everybody, and people will have different opinions, but for me, it really fucking made the world of a difference. And, in terms of, let's just briefly, there's so many things to talk about, but let's talk about our new protagonist for a second and compare him to previous protagonists as another reason why I guess I connected with this part so much more. Jotaro is an amazing Jotaro Kujo, you fucking annoying bitch. That was too harsh. He doesn't say it like that.
He's literally in cosplay. He's going out of his fucking mind. He's been calling me a bitch all day.
It was before JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Let's be honest. But he is so different, and he sets himself so apart. Like Iraqi set him so apart from all the other Joe stars that have come before him, because Jonathan, he's the good guy, he's the goody two shoes, the good boy. But then you get to Joseph. And Joseph, I think, as a youngster, as a young man, I just did not connect with him in the manga. Maybe my experience would have been different in the anime, but in the manga, I felt like he was just goofy, cocky.
Goofy. He's definitely goofy.
Everything I didn't really connect with him over made me love him in part 3 as an older gentleman.
Old Sif. Everyone was saying old Sif. Old Sif. Joseph. Old.
Yes.
Connect him. He was definitely one of the highlights of the series for me. This part.
He absolutely was.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was so funny. I was
hilarious.
I was obsessed.
If you would have told me mid part 2, Joseph is going to be one of your favorite characters in part 3, I'd have been like, you're out of your fucking mind.
You're smoking crack,
Your
bitch.
opinion is not my opinion, and we're just two different people with two different tastes.
Agree to disagree.
But I would have been wrong, because this man was always meant to be an old fart, dude, because he is so much funnier and just so much more enjoyable as an older guy.
He really is. not to discredit everyone else or the other new people that we meet, I think they all just mesh together and their
Oh, their group,
interactions,
yeah,
yeah, are so
their
hilarious.
squad is
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
And that's what I really loved again, them traveling together was such a treat. I mean, the new cars and the trash cars and the, restaurants they would go to and the hotels and them just like kind of problem solving and like, being foreigners in all of these lands. It was just cool to kind of have that level of like not embarrassment, but like of the unknown even more so than
Yeah.
if they were to just go on a plane
Right.
and then end up there. Like, it was just such a journey, and I really got invested.
I talked about, really connecting with Caesar in part 2 a lot, and in this part, I connected with everybody, dude. Give me more Joseph. Give me more Jotaro. Give me more, Polnareff, I have
He's
to
your
say
man.
it, I have to reveal it, is my favorite character of this part so far. I mean, outside of Jotaro is amazing, and I do want to talk more about him, but, yeah, Polnareff was just so Kakuin is really cool as well, and
He
so is
gets his
Abdul,
moment later on, the whole dream arc.
But-
I really
yeah,
enjoyed him then.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was that
That
was
might have been one
awesome.
of the
And
highlights.
and,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think Kakuin was, for me, he was just very middle of the road. I was very middle of the road Kakuin most of the time until that. I mean, I wasn't like I didn't dislike him, but I didn't love him
Yeah.
until that moment.
There's a lot of fake outs with him.
Right.
That kind of, it didn't like upset me, but it was just like he was introduced as evil, and then he's good now, and then he's evil again.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? Obviously it was like a
Right.
a twin or an evil
Right.
vision of him or whatever, like copy. But and then we get it again, and everyone's against him again, and I was just like, why do we keep doing this to
Yeah.
Kakuin? Like,
Yeah,
he's the
yeah,
most
yeah. Leave him
level-headed.
alone,
Leave
dude.
the
Yeah.
boy alone. Like, he's just trying to be with his little cherry earrings. He's just trying to lick him. He's trying to lick him.
Yeah, that's a scene we got to talk about. The cherry, the cherry
Cherry
scene.
licking?
When he had the cherry in his mouth.
I don't know what scene you're talking about.
You're fucking crazy.
You must have been watching something else.
I was watching Jojo's horny adventure.
Mm.
That's what we're here to talk about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Welcome. Is your stand broken? Maybe I can fix it. I don't know.
Maybe me and my stand can help you out.
Yeah. With if you fuck me, it's technically a threesome.
Yeah,
me
yeah,
and my
yeah,
stand,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower, you. I don't know.
We've made that joke before.
Well, but I just think because they're traveling the world, they're going.
Oh, but they didn't go to
places.
Paris. That would be more of like Polnareff.
We didn't go to Paris, but me and you can go there. See the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anyway, Jotaro. Polnareff was just. I think he was funny. He had a really, I think, compelling emotional sort of like attachment to everything that was going on, not just with his sister, but with his situation with Avdol. I thought was really, really, it was really, really awesome to see
that conflict
mm-hmm. within him.
Mm-hmm.
It made me connect with him more. And the only reason I'm kind of like on the fence about it now is because of the reveal that Avdol isn't dead and is alive, which was probably out of everything that happened in part 3 was my least favorite moment. Like, why?
We'll talk about it because I have a lot of thoughts too.
Yeah.
As to my dislike towards it. But yeah, he was really great. He had a lot of great moments. He was really like fleshed out, and he was this type of guy who, much like not really, Jotaro is really like the level-headed one. He really gets shit done. He thinks about things. He's very smart. I mean, he's a Joestar after all,
right.
Of course. But I think Polnareff is the one, the weakest link, I guess, of all of them. He just does what he wants. He doesn't really think about the consequences until that happens with Avdol, and then he kind of wants to think more. But he messes up.
And his stand is Silver Chariot is so cool
super
too.
Sick.
But I do think he was the emotional sort of tether. He tethered me emotionally
for sure
to everything that was going on, and that's what I really liked about him. But I keep saying this, but Jotaro, the reason I loved him so much is because we got the goody two-shoes, we got the sort of cocky goofball, kind of goofy, cheesy younger Joseph, and now we get Jotaro, who is just so. He has a heart of gold for sure, which is what I like. He's got this tough exterior, this extremely tough exterior, almost delinquent-esque. We open this series and he's in a jail cell. And even after that, he calls his mom a bitch, and he's calling everybody annoying, and he's saying, good grief, he's so just done with everything. But he does have a really kind and a really good heart. And I love that just like hard turn. And there's a lot of hard
Yeah.
turns, which is why I think part 3 sets itself so apart from all the other parts, because I've said part 5 times now, but because I think it was a change that was very, for me personally, very needed. To have this again strong bad boy character, but he's definitely not dumb by any stretch of the means. He's the one who is always calling people out and questioning people, almost as if he is this sort of conduit for the audience at a certain point, because when you see a suspicious character and you're like, why would you not question them? Why would you trust them so easily? Jotaro's usually the one to just immediately after that press them about something.
Press them and just know what's up. He just is intuitive, and that's the part I like about tying him, because they all kind of look similar. I mean, him and Joseph are like the same height, same build.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the Joestars have a very particular look about them, and he does look similar to them, sure, but again, like you were saying, he is just so different. And he still has those aspects to him, though. It's not like he's so different and he's nothing like them at all. The intellect, the problem solving, like he's got, and he's capable in his stand and using his stand. And I know the introduction to the story I really, really liked.
Well, I mean,
it was probably one of my favorite starts to a JoJo part.
And I just want to say the first episode of the anime was like a fucking movie, dude. It was, and I love the change from the anime versus the manga. The manga doesn't open the same way that the anime does, and I really love the way that the anime opens.
Yeah.
It felt so cinematic. The direction just felt so good. I loved moments between, characters, Jotaro, Avdol, Joseph, through this jail cell. And instead of cutting back and forth, the camera was literally spinning around both of them at the same time and shifting perspective that way, on top of just like the animation quality itself. I mean, and again, the performances, like I was hooked and I was entranced by the first episode. It fucking got me, and that OP is absolutely ridiculous. It has no reason being that fucking good. It is crazy, and it is the only time I've ever seen something in an anime, especially that is like CGI. Done
well, really well.
They've integrated it pretty well in other series too. But I mean,
it was a definite choice, and it worked well. I mean, the song, the direction even of the OP, it was great from start to finish. And I did want to say too, because we did watch the anime, but a little bit about the manga too. Like, I can definitely, even just reading a little bit of it, and like flipping through and like comparing and stuff, like people do say that his art definitely improved.
Oh, we had the mangas open the whole time,
and we were like, wow.
And we were going through everything to compare, to make sure that things weren't being cut out or that things were staying on track. And yeah, you definitely notice the art. The art, man, it
way
is
easier
so
to
incredible.
follow.
Yes.
And again, I think with the stands, it is more clear of like who's fighting who in most times too.
But I also think that to get even more clear than that, the anime it does serve that better, I guess. It is a lot clearer in the manga for sure, but I think it's even more clear in the anime.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, we could just get into it, but yeah, of course we loved it.
No, we loved it. I do have a couple other things that I want to mention before we start going through it, just because, again, I have come around. I have done a complete and a full 180. I feel like I understand it. I'm connecting so much. I'm so excited to talk about it. I'm so excited to continue it. And yes, I understand that people have a lot of issues, but knowing more and doing more research, watching an interview with Iraqi from, I think, 2006, you can find it on YouTube. I only watched up until where he, talked about part 3, and then the rest of the interview, it's like a half-hour video. He goes on to talk about some of the other parts. So I watched everything up until then just to kind of get his perspective on everything. And after finding out sort of, his logic behind doing certain things, I was even more endeared not only to the story but to him himself. He has always been an incredible artist, but he is a master mangaka. He is like a really smart person, human being, and I think a lot of people were also upset that, and again, a big risk that he took is cutting out Haman. And a lot of people might know this already, know this information, but we'll, speed through it and go on to talk about the series. But there might be a few people who don't. And I found this incredibly interesting as someone who didn't know. But it was a huge risk to cut Haman out of this part completely after he had built it up over part 1 and part 2. And this part 3, not only does it get rid of Haman, but it's double the length of part 1, and it's extremely long compared to even part 2. But he's talking in this interview about the reason that he chose to sort of almost abandon Haman, because Haman still pops up here and there in part 3, but it's very rare, and it's for such a brief moment that it does.
Yeah, it's definitely only when, Joseph brings it up. I think at the beginning, he kind of brings it up a little bit.
And he uses it a couple times.
Yeah, for sure, to get him out of some situations. Because his stand is, probably maybe one of... I mean, it definitely has its... advantages for sure, but it is definitely one of the weakest ones because it cannot attack. But it's also
so Joseph.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he does mention it, and it was just interesting to not really have that anymore in the series throughout.
And his explanation is basically that if you're going to tell a generational story, and the hook of that story, which is already in itself a risk, but a brilliant idea. If you're going to tell this generational story and you need to introduce a new protagonist every part, then you're either going to run into the problem of A, having to reteach that protagonist every arc or every part at the beginning, reteach them Haman. Now, with Joseph, when he was first introduced, he inherently already knew and understood how to use Haman to a certain degree, but then had to train further. And that was his sort of training arc with Caesar. But I think more importantly than that, so he wanted to have something that people could just not have to retrain all the time, and it wouldn't just be retreading the same thing over and over. But on top of that, it also lends itself to just so much diversity in characters. He can come up with so many different types of characters, and it seems not only fresh every time because we get a fresh protagonist, but we also get a fresh stand. So we're getting bang for our buck. We're getting it double.
Which is great. I mean, again, character designs are off the charts, so cool. Things that you would not expect to be stands are, I mean, again, just leaning into the bizarre factor, it's just every stand is just so unique, and the explanation of them is not over it's not complicated at all. It is pretty this is what it does, this is what it can do, and this is why it works more to my advantage than yours in this moment. And I just really appreciated that, and it didn't feel stale at all. And even if, again, people might have said oh, it might have been repetitive, them just going here, finding a new stand, but I was excited to see the next stand. It wasn't okay, here we go again, another stand, they're gonna have to fight another stand,
because
it's gonna be the same thing.
He leaned into, I think, what his strength was, and it was creating really cool characters and really cool character designs. It also, again, just it keeps things even more fresh. And now, if Haman would have been the same thing over and over and over, it would have been a new protagonist, and they would have been able to use Haman, sure, and maybe they would have already known it and not had to have trained in it, but it still would have been the same move sets. All the move sets, everything would have just been sort of similar. Maybe he would have been able to come up with different creative ways for them to use it, but for the most part, it would have been the same. This is completely different. Completely different. And even his choice, because I understand that there's a lot of people who were frustrated and might still be frustrated with the choice to follow this episodic formula for the first half of this part. But the reason, again, is because he was making this big change. He made this big change from Haman to stands. Through in the third act or third part or in the third arc, whatever of his story. Pretty not super late in the game, but not early in the game.
Yeah.
He had to introduce people to this thing by giving them so many different variations to show them what was possible, all the possibilities, all the things he could do with this, number one. And number two, at the time, because views and readership had started to dip, he was giving people a chance to come in wherever they could and not feel like they had to read all of part one or part two to understand what was going on. So he kept it sort of episodic for a while to kind of grow that readership again, to get new people into it, and then kind of went on to progress and further the plot, which is a huge risk. but it paid off in the biggest way. This is why this man is a fucking genius, and he is so good because, he took a risk and believed in himself and believed in the story he was wanting to tell. And he himself, to quote him in that interview, he says, "When I came up with the idea of stands, I feel like I hit a gold mine. And I felt like I could just do anything." And that's what you want. You want someone who's writing and telling a story to just feel free to tell whatever kind of story they want to tell.
Yeah,
And you
definitely.
can really feel it, man. It feels so different, but it feels so fresh and it feels so good.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, again, like, to the risk, the risk situation, like, he took a risk and it paid off. And I mean, that's what I would, as someone who reads manga, who watches anime, like, if the creator isn't, happy with what they're doing, or refuses to, really go outside of their comfort zone in the story, because, like, this is the story I want to tell. It doesn't matter what anyone says. I'm going to do this, 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 this. Like, it could just lend itself to, like, obviously, like, failure, or, like, not failure, but just not telling the story you want to tell, and being, like, not stubborn, but he really was like, I need to make a change, not only for the viewership, but, like, maybe for himself too, because I can only imagine writing a story for so long and it being kind of like the same type of thing over and over and over again. Differences, of course. But the stands, like, again, like you said, you really just feel how much fun he was having, and, like, we were having fun because it was so much fun that he was having fun. And it's like there's all these different things introduced, and it wasn't like overstimulating. It wasn't like, oh my god, okay, well, I had all this information about Haman and now it's out the window. Like, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is fresh.
And it almost seems like a natural evolution, just like things generationally grow and change.
For sure.
As people became stronger, and as, this lineage continued on throughout time, like, maybe this was something that they were able to unlock, and maybe this wasn't something they were able to unlock until this point. I mean, you can make your own sort of like headcanon reasons as to why this change was made. But again, for all those reasons, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it just made this series so incredibly special and different and fun, as well as getting to spend time with more of these characters, like the Polnareffs, like the Kakuins, like even Joseph, but like creating this sort of ensemble, this fun ensemble, instead of just giving us like a Joseph and a Caesar, and maybe, you'd have a Lisa pop in, or maybe you'd have another character or a Speedwagon
and then fight
pop in.
against, these otherworldly beings
right.
in the first half, I guess. And it really does just allow you to, again, just care about these characters more. And I'm all for that. It doesn't matter, if it's super long, if it's doing its job well, then it's going to make me invested and want to know what happens when they finally go to Egypt, when they finally confront Dio. Like, it's all for a purpose. Obviously, if they went right off the bat, went on a plane, go to Egypt, like, how well do you think they would have, like, stood a chance against Dio? All four of them still.
Yeah.
Or
they're
five.
growing in strength on the way.
5. Yeah.
And he also said it, he, in his mind, he kind of wrote it as if it was some sort of role-playing game. Like, he imagined them as like these pieces on a board that were slowly moving forward, every episode. But I absolutely agree. They were gaining
with interruptions
strength
in between.
Yeah, they were gaining, knowledge and learning how to use these powers and abilities, and learning how to problem solve, and learning how to think on their feet. And man, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
And the stakes too. I mean, when it was introduced about, like, Holly and how, everyone in this Joestar lineage, like, ends up having a stand, how it kind of is like rejecting her.
Right.
It was a cool concept, because I was like, when it first got introduced, I was like, oh, I guess she's going to be on the team now. But then it was like, no, this is the main reason why they have to go and do this. Because if really, I mean, Dio in the mix, like, yeah, sure, it's a huge threat. But if Dio was kind of just in the mix and they had to deal with him later and Holly was completely fine, it would have changed the story, completely.
Yeah, it also felt like Iraqi was throwing everything but the kitchen sink, and maybe even the kitchen sink, at the wall, but it worked. All the fights and stand abilities were so creative. And again, it felt like he was saying, like, see, this is what I can do once I am a little more free, once I have a little bit more room to play. Because, yeah, all of these fights were extremely creative, and some, of course, are going to hit more than others. You're gonna like a lot, some a lot more than others. But for the most part, they were all relatively, like, good, and more of them for me were great.
Yeah.
And also different from the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, again, felt like they went a little too long, or maybe were anticlimactic. But for the most part, they were all awesome. Well, I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover in the beginning. We are about to move on into our discussion of part 3. But before we do, humor us.
Haha.
Humor us. Haha.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! And allow us time for a little tiny plug.
Oh.
If you don't know, Mehgan, and everybody
I don't
watching
know.
and listening, you can now order yourself. I don't like calling it merch. We don't like calling it merch. These are shirts that we worked very hard on, with graphics that we worked very hard on. You can cop yourself a Volume 1's Bizarre Adventure t-shirt. I have it pulled up here just so that everybody can have a gander, have a look. These shirts are, again, I am incredibly proud of how they came out. I don't like calling them just merch. They're designs that we are proud to have represent our show and this series. So if you like the design, it's our, of course, Volume Dunn's Bizarre Adventure artwork here. If you like the design, if it looks cool to you, cop one for yourself. Pick one up for yourself. You can see Mehgan sporting one here.
That's my very own.
Looking great, dude. Pulling it off.
Thank you.
So if you'd like to cop one for yourself, and the quality of these shirts is amazing too. Fourth Wall is an incredible site, print-on-demand site. They're amazing. The quality is fantastic. I love the fits and the fabric. They're great. But if you would like to pick one up for yourself, then you can click the link in the description, or you can click one of the pictures right there below this video. But that's it. Enough with the plugs. Let's get on to talking about Part 3, Part 1. So I have a list here, too, that I have pulled up with all the stands. And I'm going to be pulling this up periodically. There might be some minor spoilers in here, but I don't think anything super major. Because I think the best way, we're going to talk a lot about the first episode, but then again, I think the best way to break up sort of this half of this part is to talk about all the fights. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah, for sure.
And usually, again, like, not that I guess I don't always connect with that, but more often than not, I find myself like maybe getting a little fatigued or a little bored of a fight every episode, but they were so fresh and so different that
exactly. It was so this is what I like. I mean, this is what I like about Hunter, Hunter too. It is just like this constant change of the enemy. It's not just one enemy that they're fighting against. It's not just like the same type. It's what I love about One Piece too. It's just people that have these really, really distinct and interesting abilities, and how they can use them and where they're at, and how that can gain advantage for them, and seeing how they can navigate that and use their own abilities. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it so much. I mean, everything, again, was so interesting.
I'm glad Haman is out and stands are in, dude, because out of all the other, you got Chakra, you got Hockey, you got, Spirit Pressure, you got Nen, you got, so many things. And Hockey just didn't set its, Haman didn't set itself apart enough. It was just a little kind of like, I don't know, common Haman is what it was. It was very common Haman, and now it's standing apart from the rest. By being just so creatively different.
Standing on its own 2 feet.
Standing on its own 2 feet, absolutely, Mehgan. So I think the best way to talk about it is to talk about the first episode, our experience with it, our experience with the anime as a whole. Then we can go through some plot-specific details and go through some of our favorite stand battles, our favorite stand moments. Again, we talked about it a little bit, but the opening and setting this story up was the best. It was the best. It was better than Part 2 for me personally. It was better than Part 1. It really set up everything so incredibly well. To have Jotaro open again up in a jail cell, being claiming to be haunted by this spirit. There was intrigue, there was mystery.
Holly introduced. I mean, again, just being like this doting mother. You don't know Jotaro yet, so you just hear that you got in a fight, and you're like, what's going to happen?
Oh my God, the way that was shown.
Yeah, I know. And, she's just like, okay, well, they're like, get your son. And she's going down, or in the manga, she's just seeing him as like a younger,
flashing
kid.
through all of these images.
Oh my God, my sweet boy. And then she just shows up and she's like, Jotaro, like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And he's just like, Shut up, you annoying bitch.
I
I
was
went,
laughing so hard. I was on the floor, dude.
I went,
That's what I'm saying.
what?
It is so like the humor I talked about too, for whatever reason in the manga in part 2 didn't really land. It felt, cheesy, corny, over the top, which I understand is the charm of JoJo, but it felt like it really landed for me in part 3. It could have been the performances, it could have been the anime, but I was dying laughing at multiple points throughout this entire half. I was on the floor. I couldn't believe when he said, like, shut up, you annoying bitch.
Yeah.
I
Or
was
it's like, shut up, you're pissing me off, lady, in the manga. And I was just like, damn.
And that isn't even the top of where this bizarre adventure goes, because we get to see a baby get fed his own shit.
Yeah.
We get to see what was it, Avdol and Polnareff pissing down a like breathing tube,
A breathing tube.
a bamboo breathing tube into
Yeah.
someone's mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, we
saw a pig in a toilet.
We saw a pig in a toilet. We saw a growth on Joseph's arm. Like a sentient, with its own, personality, voice, whatever.
We saw a monkey.
An orangutan.
Wu-Tang who likes porn.
Who loves porn. I mean, you want to talk about hilarious and bizarre? It all came together in part 3. And that's the thing. I'm not like Iraqi is such a genius. I'm not upset, that I didn't connect personally with part 1 or part 2, because for me, it felt like he was finding it out. And in that 2006 interview, he says, in 2006, I finally feel like I understand it myself now as the creator. I finally feel in 2006, and I don't know where he was at what part he was at in 2006, but he says, I finally feel like I understand it as a creator. So he was figuring it out, man. He was telling the story he wanted to tell, but he was changing things along the way, trying to tell a better version of the story he wanted to tell. And it really starts to come together and click with me personally in part 3. Oh, you fucking did it. Araki, you fucking did it. You got me.
You son of a
bitch.
Hold on.
You got me. You got me.
That was probably
Jotaro.
The best. Yeah, that was probably one of the best ones you've done.
That's my best Joseph impression.
Yeah. Oh
no. I have to use my hermit purple. Yeah.
Good. He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best.
But yes, the introduction to Jotaro, his relationship with his mother, and just those sweet little emotional moments where we do get to see that he does care. He does care. Seeing how desired he is by everybody. Him meeting his grandfather and Avdol, and learning that his possessed spirit is a stand. Something that we learn to be a manifestation, a sort of spirit almost, but a manifestation of someone's will. And their inner strength, sort of
their life energy.
Awesome. Not only is it awesome visually, but it is just such a different form of showing one's strength. And,
yeah.
I feel like we've been just hyping up the stands this whole time. I mean, give us a break. Good grief, dude. I mean, it's just new to us, man. We're loving it.
Yeah, for real.
But also understanding now, Jotaro understanding his stand, and also
understanding more of his lineage.
Yes,
for sure. I mean, apart from the fight with Avdol, which was really cool to see again, like we saw Star Platinum. And that was awesome
Star
reveal.
Platinum is one of my favorite stands.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it better be. It's the freaking main character stand.
And seeing that against Magician's Red and
Magician's Red too. What
fire.
A flame pterodactyl.
Fire.
Come on, dude.
With abs. I mean,
with abs.
Can't get any better than that. Okay.
Abdol or Abdol? I don't know. Shit.
That was really fucking good.
But yeah, getting to meet, not only Jotaro and his lineage being, him meeting Joseph, but to meet Star Platinum, that was so awesome. And then, of course, bringing back Dio and the connection that Dio...
That was crazy. Yeah. And finding out that this fool, took Jonathan's...
Well, he did it in part 1.
I mean, I did it again. I don't know if I forgot or what, but I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like his head.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I believe I remember being a plot point in part 1,
Wow.
towards the end of their battle,
Yeah.
because Dio was a severed head. He was a Futurama head
Oh
there for a while.
yeah, I remember that.
And so bringing him back full circle, and again, I'm maybe just dumb, but I finally feel like I understand it, because what a awesome story to tell and use lineage. And who is the antagonist in a story that takes place over generations, but an immortal like vampire creature that has stolen the body of this like main forefather of all these people, and to be able to use that body and that person's strength against his own family.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. What? I was just, I don't know what, but
It's okay. We're here now.
we're here now.
It's
I am
okay.
also dying in this thing. I'm trying to hold it together, but holy fucking shitty bitch.
You're good. Just use Star Platinum to fan you.
Yeah, Star Platinum, can you fan me, please? Star Platinum. I'm cool now. Star Platinum's hot too.
He's like, yeah.
Of course, Jotaro's Star Platinum stand being precision,
Mhm.
and speed, I believe, as well,
Yes.
as a part of his stand's ability. Very, very, very basic, very straightforward, but you gotta love it. You gotta love a classic.
Yeah, you gotta love a classic, and he does it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
But the connection to Dio being back in the story and figuring out that basically the journey is going to be them going from where they need to go to Egypt to confront Dio, because Holly, like you mentioned, her stand is manifesting and it's harming her, because she doesn't have the physical strength to maintain
Yes.
this stand. And they meet some people along the way. They meet Kakuin, they meet Polnareff, they meet Avdol, who they're traveling with as well. And that's pretty much the gang, the boys, and they have 50 days, I believe.
Yeah.
50 days.
Yeah.
Again, the story heavily, Iraqi talks about it in that interview as well. Inspired by Around the World in 80 days, and they even reference it in the manga and in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
But they have that amount of time, 50 days, I believe, to get to not only to get to Egypt, but to defeat Dio, so that they can regain this power, take this power from him, and help Holly.
Yes.
And they also meet Anne along the way.
Yeah.
And Anne is someone, I guess, who was also a little underutilized. Like, she was there, she was having fun, she was a part of the story. You think she's going to be a part of the gang, and then she just kind of disappears.
She had to leave at the right time. Like, imagine her being with them when they went
Yeah,
through
but
some
it's
of the
like-
shit that they went through. Like, she would have.
But it's like,
She
what's the
would've
point of
held
her
it
being
back.
there at all, I guess?
She was a fun little orphan girl.
Yeah, she was fun. She was fun.
Yeah, she was hilarious.
Yeah. So I guess let's go through. Of course, we got Magician's Red in the first episode too, which was really nice, and I have this pulled up. I can pull it on the screen for everybody else to see as well. But we got Magician's Red in the first episode. We also get Hermit Purple revealed. And again, the reason this feels so Joseph is because it allows him to see a vision of the future, but he needs to break a very expensive camera in order to use it every single time.
break a very expensive camera in order to use it.
Yeah.
And they're like not. I mean, it's like a Polaroid picture, and he's getting one of Dio, and he's done them multiple times, but every time, it's too dark to see where he's at. That he can't see it at all. Until we find out, Jotaro uses his stand to see something in the background and to draw something in the background. It's a fly. They find out the fly, Africa, Egypt, and that's they go from there. Then we get Hierophant Green, which is like also another fucking cool ass stand.
Yeah.
That
dude.
introduction to Kakuin was absolutely insane. That school nurse was a terrifying scene in the anime.
I don't want to forget this, but yes, you reminded me in that moment. This season, this part was so gruesome, so graphic.
They toned it down in the anime, but in the manga, it is intense.
I mean, they might have toned it down in the anime, and we were flipping through the manga too, but it was pretty graphic in the anime too. I was like, damn, dude. I mean, people were not safe in this part. People were getting,
slashed,
slaughtered, diced up left and right.
Yeah, cut.
It was way more gruesome and way more gory than I feel like the previous two parts were.
For sure. It felt crazy. And this is obviously Kakuin's stand, Hierophant Green. Emerald Splash, bitch. Like, come on now. Such a cool stand. And, we find out that he's being controlled by Dio through this flesh bug. And then he ends up joining the team because they take it out of him using Star Platinum in order to do that.
To remove, this thing that Dio planted in his mind. And Hierophant Green is probably, again, one of my favorite stands.
He just looks so sick.
Yeah, dude.
So sick. And after the dream arc, I was like, goated. I mean, he's goated. He's fucking goated.
For sure.
But the name. Like Hierophant Green, like swag.
Like, Hierophant Green.
Yeah,
I mean, it is just, it doesn't get old. It is so awesome every single time. I mean, come on, dude. So we do meet Star Platinum, Magician's Red, Hermit Purple, Hierophant Green, and then they go on to meet Polnareff, who's also kind of under a similar spell and is being controlled by Dio. That little whatever it is, parasite, is removed by Star Platinum again, and we meet him and Silver Chariot, and then they join the group as well. And we find out that Polnareff wants to defeat Dio. He has his own reasons for wanting to defeat Dio, and that's because his sister, or not Dio specifically,
someone who works for Dio. Yes. He has two right hands, very distinctive and very nasty. He just like the way he drew him in the manga and the anime too is just like this scary guy.
Yeah.
And he wants to defeat him. But ultimately he has a fight, a really cool fight. I really did like this fight in the anime between Avdol and him. And at the end he kind of just is very like he has a lot of honor. And he realizes, like, you had a knife. You could have stabbed me. You could have thrown it at me. But instead, you were going to take your own life. You have a lot of honor. You want to come with us. And he's like, or I'll save you. And then he ends up joining them because, obviously, they work together. And his past, he wants to reconcile and get revenge for his sister, which I thought was a great way to join the little clique.
Yeah, and then he has another reason after that, which I think is, again, another emotional moment for him and another character that I think was executed very well, but then kind of undercut later on. Frustratingly so. Avdol.
Oh, yes.
And now we got the gang all together. We have Star Platinum, Magician's Red, Hermit Purple, Hierophant Green, Silver Chariot. They're all together. The boys are in town and they're ready to go to Egypt.
Back in town.
All for their different reasons, but they're ready to go to Egypt and defeat Dio. Along the way, though, they have a hard time, probably the hardest time getting there.
Yeah.
And at every point along the way, they run into a stand user that tries to sabotage them, all being sent by Dio. A lot of them also being sent by the old hag, the old woman who is Hangman's mother. Whose name is Enya the Hag. Yeah.
Enya the Hag.
She's actually called the Hag. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And they have to get through all of these people who are trying to stop them along the way. And as far as plot points, there's some very significant plot points and moments, but not a whole lot. So I think that, we can kind of cover them as we go through. We'll just kind of go through all the fights very briefly, and we'll linger on the ones that we had the most fun with.
Tower of Grey.
Tower of Grey being
Fly.
The first one. Yes.
I mean, what a start.
Yeah.
What a start. They are in an airplane on their way, and
Tower of Grey was, I'm going to say it, Tower of Grey was one of my least favorites.
I just thought it was a great start to the introduction of the enemies, I guess, because they could be anything, like a fly. And they had a pretty hard time, getting it, just because there was like civilians in the plane.
Right.
And
that was I think the big takeaway from that moment.
Yeah.
Is, oh damn, like even by traveling commercially, by using a commercial airline, like we're putting so many civilians at danger. And that's after that is when they say like, okay, we're never going to do this again. And then there's the running gag too with Jotaro and Joseph. Like, I'm never going to get in a plane or a flying vehicle or any sort of vehicle that you man or pilot ever again.
Yeah, specifically planes.
And a nice callback too.
Oh yeah. He's like, you've been in 3 plane crashes. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that being the callback to part 2 where you crashed that plane. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. But I did like this, and I liked how it was like a stand user, because obviously if there's a stand, there has to be a user,
close by most of the time.
Most of the
That is
time.
how they draw the most power out of it.
And it was like just like this is like a non-assuming old man, and apparently he's been doing this a long time, causing planes to crash just because he likes it.
Yeah.
And psycho, and again graphic. Really cool moment with Kakuin here too. He was just like, you're saying I'll go mad from the pain, but actually for defeating you, I'll go mad from joy. I was like,
yeah,
let's go. Yeah. And we got to see Jotaro really using his head here too, which I enjoyed. And using strategy to defeat him, and ultimately, obviously,
that's the thing,
him.
Dude. You want to talk about? Everybody wants to maybe praise Joseph for having all these fucking plans in part 2, and he had these like super elaborate plans. Like
he was very lucky.
He was very lucky. He had these crazy, elaborate, super specific plans. But I feel like Jotaro's plans are always like really smart, practical, and they just kind of make sense, and they're not like over the top. But they work, and I don't know. I just felt like his ability to like formulate a plan and go and move into action was just a lot better. I felt like, for me personally, than watching Joseph kind of do the same thing, even though Joseph is hilarious and more so as an old man.
And yeah, they actually crashed the plane. I forgot to mention Joseph is manning
right,
plane,
and he does crash it.
He does crash it, but everyone's safe for the most part. And they end up in Hong Kong, right? And they go on a ship to further their journey.
Because they're like, we can't take planes.
Yeah.
We'll
no
take
planes.
A ship. And we'll get the Speedwagon Foundation to like make sure that it's all people we trust and we know.
Yeah. Background check.
Yeah.
And that's where we meet Anne for the first time. Funny interaction. She's just so spunky. She's just what's that? I forget that one show. Anyway, she's spunky. And she's just funny interacting with them, and they're thinking, because there's a stand in the water because she goes overboard, and they think that it's her controlling it, and it's obviously not her, it's someone else on board. And this fool looked as evil as hell. I mean, they could have guessed it a mile away.
Oh yeah, this guy. I mean, at first,
he looked.
First, you think that the obvious sort of point of recognition when it comes to determining who is a stand user or not is just like, look at the most jacked guy in the room.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. We learn later on. But at first, you're like, no shit, it's this freaking buff ass, sussy ass captain over here.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I got a little ahead of ourselves.
Who did we miss?
This is the Silver Chariot. That doesn't happen until 2 episodes later.
Oh yeah. Well, it's because we kind of put the gang all together. I mean, the Silver Chariot fight was awesome too.
Yeah. And yeah, that was super sick. But we could just stay here. Dark Blue Moon was super sick. An aquatic stand.
Yeah, this was really cool. But again, because of the stand user, it was really cool. But this wasn't the point where I was like probably the most hooked.
I liked the idea of,
but I did like it. I did like it a lot.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was just enjoying it.
No,
more
me
than
too.
anything.
Me too.
And it was so different from the previous one too. And it was something that they're like, aquatic stand, like that's crazy. And the way Jotaro was able to pinpoint the stand user was pretty funny too, right?
Yeah, that was so smart of him, dude.
Yeah.
That was so smart. He's like, you could tell, like when I start smoking my cigarettes, you could tell a stand user. Because when the smoke goes in their nose, they all like, scratch it or touch it a certain way. And everybody's like, really? And he touched his nose too. And I was like, this man is smart. That's what I'm talking about. His plans are smart. They're clever.
Yeah.
Clever. Jotaro is clever. Joseph is extra.
Yeah.
But we love him for being extra. Yeah.
And yeah, the fight goes on, and it was really cool. The whirlpool. How Jotaro was able to hold his breath or like not freak out, was able, him being able to defeat him towards the end, keeping his cool. And I mean, that line again, he's like, I think you know what I'm going to say. I know what you're thinking. It's a callback again. It's like, I know you're probably thinking that blah, blah, blah. And he goes, no, what I was thinking is that it's going to be really disgusting when you piss your pants underwater.
Yes.
I was like, ah!
And I was like, bro, nobody was thinking that.
Bro.
Nobody was thinking you were thinking that.
And what would it even matter? You're in water.
But I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
So
I was
hilarious.
like, now it's all I'm thinking about.
But yeah, he's talking about, what am I going to make you? Sashimi?
Yeah.
What am I going to make you? Suit? Like, he was just naming off all of these, fish dishes, and he was just totally
Yeah.
stone cold, you know.
That's
And
who he is.
this one, that we're coming up next, this was one of probably the most bizarre, and I could not see what was coming next.
That's why I loved it. This is where I start being hooked, dude, because I'm like, what? Not only can humans be stand users, because I'm like, okay, now we're thinking outside of the box. Iraqi, okay, I see what we're doing. We're getting bizarre. All right, I like it. We're owning up to the name now. We're delivering on the name now. We got a monkey, an orangutan, whose stand is a ship. And we open, we're like, damn, who is this monkey? And like, they're like, oh, someone left him.
Someone left him, the crew or
someone
whatever.
left him, and then Anne goes in there. I'm like, oh, no, Anne, dude, stay away from that monkey.
Don't let him out. He's in there for a reason.
He's in there for a reason, dude, and he pulls out a Playboy. Bro. He pulls out a Playboy, and I think he even starts smoking a cigarette, too.
He does.
And I'm thinking, okay, now we're getting into it. And then Anne gets in the shower, and that's when I was like, Anne, get the fuck out of the shower. Why are you in the shower right now? Don't be showering with a perverted orangutan. This man was reading a Playboy in front of your face. Okay, and you were like, oh, that's interesting. Now I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to get naked. I'm going to go take a shower.
I guess this monkey likes Playboy. That's what she says, too.
But that whole fight, that whole reveal, which is really cool because, again, we get to see that, again, humans aren't the only ones that can have stands. And that stands themselves don't always look humanoid or don't always manifest themselves in the same way. This orangutan stand was an entire ship. And now it's changing the way I'm looking at things, changing the way I'm thinking about things. And I'm like, okay, all right, here we fucking go.
And I was like, again, it was like the idea of like a ghost ship. And the mystery behind it, and they're all trying to figure it out. And again, just like having this animal who I guess understands combat, but is like heavily relying on this thing that he can use without words. Like, so crazy.
And Star Platinum had a badass moment during that fight as well.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was incredible. Then we move on to Ebony Devil. Ebony Devil. And again, now we're on a hot streak, okay? Because Ebony Devil, let me just click on this too to make sure I'm thinking of the right stand. Yes. Ebony Devil was another point. They finally make it off the ship. They get to land. They get a hotel room. They think they're going to take a load off and relax. They're foolish for thinking so.
I know.
And they meet Ebony Devil. And this is where Polnareff has interaction and a fight with him. And he is basically a Chucky doll, man.
Yeah, for real.
He is insane. He is crazy. He's tying Polnareff to the bed.
Some small soldier shit.
Some small soldier shit. And, of course, there are some things I found a little contradictory and maybe not. Maybe they do explain it or it is explained. But they really heavily emphasize during this battle that, a stand can only fight where its user can see.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of got a little muddy during the lovers fight.
Was it all of them or was it only Silver Chariot?
I felt like it was all of them, but I could be wrong. But yeah, this was a fun fight and a fun moment. Again, Polnareff getting to steal the show for a while, using the fragments of Mirror to be able to locate Ebony Devil. And
that was crazy. I mean, he's just like, oh my god,
and everybody waiting for him in the other hotel.
Yeah,
like, where's Polnareff?
He's late, probably taking another shit. He loves shitting.
He does love shitting.
He loves a comfortable restroom where he could shit in peace.
Another reason why I love him. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a nice shit, a nice comfortable shit
in a clean restroom?
I had a phobia of a snake coming out of the toilet bowl and biting my butt. And now I have a phobia of pigs.
Yeah, sometimes they like it.
They do. The pig ate the shit. The pig is eating the shit down there.
And also doing other things, apparently.
Yeah, weird.
That was a very bad insinuation. That was very disturbing.
Anyway,
but
the Ebony Devil moment was super, super fun again. And if you want to stop and spend more time on any of these, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Your most favorite ones. We'll definitely stop and we'll spend more time. If we go through every single fight, every single moment, and if we really linger for too long, this will be a 3 hour.
Yeah.
Then we move on to Yellow Temperance, and I think this is where, Mehgan, you were saying that you started to feel a little bit of that back and forth with the Kakyoin, his true intentions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It did lead to one of the funniest moments with the cherry, which is worth it just for that moment.
Yeah, it really was. That was crazy. He's
But we
like,
basically mean
ooh,
that.
I love cherries.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Kakyoin.
What that tongue do?
Yeah, what that stand and that tongue do.
I mean, just what that tongue do. I mean, that tongue was.
What her Hierophant Green can do.
I mean, Hierophant Green wasn't the one going though.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, some of these stands, they can get it.
Oh yeah, Star Platinum can get it. Magician's Red,
Red
honestly
can get it. Hierophant Green can get it. Silver Chariot can get it.
I would say
that might be about it.
No, I would say let me keep going down. Let me see.
Death 13.
I would say Death 13 can kind of get it.
Lovers can die.
It's a baby stand, so
no,
I don't
that's
know
what I
about
said.
that,
That's why I was like, yeah, maybe not. The sun.
The sun can get it.
That's
and maybe,
pretty much it.
Maybe Hangman, can get it too.
Yeah. Hangman's kind of like a mummy bitch.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Wheel of Fortune can get it.
Wheel of Fortune can get it. Yeah, Yellow Temperance again.
Yellow Temperance was a bitch. This was probably the stand that made me the most fucking mad, to be honest.
Really? The stand that made me the most mad was the lovers. The lovers
made me mad. Death 13 made me mad too. But Yellow Temperance was a bitch. Like, Rubber Soul, like, the way he kept changing up too was just like, oh, I'll tell you what I need. I can't tell you everything though. And then, like, last moment, he was like, fuck you.
Yeah, and then
he was, like, literally, like, begging for his life. I'm like, and he killed a fucking dog. Let's not forget that.
Dude, gruesomely.
Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that, Rubber Soul bitch.
So did Death 13. A lot of dog deaths.
A lot of dog deaths. Yeah.
But yeah, that was that moment where, Kakyoin starts acting a little out of character. It's pretty funny because everybody's like, maybe he is evil. And Joseph
beetles and shit.
Joseph sees something in the TV too, using his hermit purple, telling him that like Kakyoin might not be who he says he is, and it leads them to further sort of become suspicious, and us, the audience, I guess, become suspicious. And then we see, Jotaro, and he's out with Anne, and they're all, and Kakyoin, and they're all out and about, and Kakyoin's acting really sus and really weird, eating bugs and shit.
Yeah.
Weird shit.
Eating beetles and shit. Like,
yeah,
okay,
very nasty, very
normal.
Weird. And then the real Kakyoin comes into the room with Avdol and Joseph, and we're like, uh-oh.
Little Freaky Friday moment. No, like we're at Parent Trap.
Parent Trap, yeah, Parent Trap. And this fight was really cool too, but the build up to it I found like really, really funny. Just the cherry moment. I love cherries. The whole like him just being really off, but it was like overly off, and it was like really weird. And his, the interaction that the imposter Kakyoin, or I guess Yellow Temperance, had with Jotaro was really a lot of fun, and the Yellow Temperance fight was cool for that. Then we get to see a team up, which I thought was really cool too. We get to see Hanged Man and Emperor.
Yeah.
And this was really, really cool. That was
very formidable.
Yeah, them together, and we learned that it is possible now for stand users to team up against one another, which you would assume would happen, but it hadn't happened yet. And so it makes sense that they're kind of using each other's strengths to become even stronger. And the real hook with the Hanged Man and Emperor fight, I mean, this is probably the best point in the series because of the moment that it leads to with Polnareff and Avdol, and it is Polnareff's daughter's murderer.
Not daughter, sister.
I mean sister. What did I say? Daughter. Sister.
Yeah, his sister's murderer. And we get the pig moment before this as well. And the shadow. I mean, Hangman is so sick. I mean, not shadows, mirrors. Anything reflective, he can.
This was another super creative way and a use of a stand.
I loved it. He's looking in the mirror, and then he looks behind him. There's nothing there. He looks again in the mirror. Hangman's there, and he's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. That Hangman using reflections thing was so awesome. And it's led to a really interesting fight.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, that's when the pig moment happened. And that was so funny, dude. And so gross and so weird. It made me uncomfortable, but I was laughing at the same time. I was like, what am I feeling? I'm feeling so many emotions right now.
Yeah, for real.
And then, of course, even emperors or a whole horse who has the emperor stand or the emperor card, whatever. Whole horse's introduction was very crazy too. He was like this ladies' man who's manipulating
like a player.
women. Yeah. Which works to his benefit at a certain point, but
yeah, but the fight, I mean, the main part before this fight, obviously, is what you said, the Avdol and Polnareff beef. Because Polnareff's just like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to, now that I know that he is here, I'm going to go fuck him up.
Right.
And Avdol's like, you can't think of yourself, that you got to be smarter than. He's just like, I mean, I get it. Like, let him just go. Like, of course, like, we see what happens, but it's just like, damn, I mean, this is the main reasons why he's here. He's here.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, just let him, let him free.
Yeah, Polnareff has finally come across his sister's killer, so,
Mm-hmm.
He wants revenge, and he's acting of his own volition, and that's what incites that incident, and he goes on to fight Hangman by himself and is almost completely taken out by him.
Yeah.
And he goes against everybody's wishes to do that and advice to do that. And he's almost taken out, but saved by Avdol. And this leads to what we believe at the time to be Avdol's death, which at that point in the story set the stakes and made us feel like nothing was off the table. Like anything could happen and might happen, and people might not all make it to Egypt. And it was such a powerful moment, I think, for Polnareff as well, because he reflects on that, and there's a heartbreaking moment where Kakyoin has to, Avdol sacrifices himself, then Kakyoin shows up, right, in the car, and they kind of leave Avdol's quote-unquote dead body there, and we see Polnareff have to reckon with that and have to deal with that. Like, not only did he lose...
I felt so bad for him.
Me too.
Yeah.
He lost his sister, wasn't able to avenge her in this moment, and then it cost his friend's life.
That moment, man. Yeah, he just is like, he shouldn't have come. He just shouldn't have come. I don't understand why he came to my aid. I told him not to. And then it just cuts to him just like
crying, bawling
his eyes out. Just like, how many more deaths do I have to endure? Like, how many more people do I have to fucking lose against this hangman bitch? Like, and it was just so touching. And I was like, damn, I mean, it's JoJo's like that, I guess. And they just left his dead body just bye.
I thought so too. Yeah, I thought that this was really going to stick.
Yeah, and thinking, when he had to go and break the news, like, it was just so like, damn, this is sad.
They do end up confronting the Hanged Man and the Emperor again as a unit now, once they've played a little smarter. And there's that really creative use of this ability where he is just running into different reflective surfaces. He goes into a coin and then is surrounded by all of these, beggars, basically. And we find out that he can also travel. Hangman can travel through the reflection of people's eyes.
Yeah, that little boy.
And so
that little boy, and it's just like, what are you guys doing? He's like, don't look at me. And the little boy's like, what? And he's like, stop. I told you. I'm telling you one thing. Just don't look at me. And he's like, huh? And then he has to fucking resort to throwing sand in his eyes because he won't fucking listen. This little kid, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then they realize, like, they kind of come to the understanding that, like, this is like, it's not just reflection. It's like light. Like light, like that's so sick.
Well, reflections are light bouncing off of things, and so it adds this like this horde, this mob of people surrounding you is already terrifying enough. But then to realize like that they're all staring at this gold coin or whatever that you have, or no, I think this was before the gold coin. Like they're all just they have the gold coin. They're all staring at them, and then they flick it up in the air, and there's only one place it can go. Was just so smart and so just added this extra level of horror and tension and terror to kind of everything that was happening. And then they are able to defeat Hangman or Hanged Man, and the Emperor flees. And the Emperor's stand or Whole Horse's stand is just a gun.
Yeah, it's just a gun.
I mean,
Which is kind of sick.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the Whole Horse or the Emperor flees, and we will see him again.
Yeah, we will.
But
very soon.
He's able to flee because the girl that we saw him sort of sweet talking in the beginning comes to his rescue and his aid.
And he's like, "Thank you so much, darling. I gotta
ski-daddle.
Thank you though. I'll be back. Probably not though. Definitely not. But have a good life."
And then we realize that that the Empress is working through this girl.
Yeah.
And because I can't remember if it's because she's like touching Joseph or what, but somehow, or maybe her blood or something got on him. But it causes this growth to grow on Joseph's arm.
Mm-hmm.
And this fight was one of my favorites as well. I mean, I will say the Hangman fight was definitely one of my favorites, but
it was very funny.
It was hilarious, but also this was like the first moment that we got to see like how capable, or we were reminded of how capable Joseph is. And he really does feel like the Joseph from part 2 in a way. He even goes back to his signature sort of line, like, I know what you're probably thinking. And we see him use his hermit purple in such a creative way to find this like vat to like not just suffocate, but to harden. And just, again, how much his experience really comes into play. We're reminded, like, oh, damn, yeah, this is the same Joseph from part 2.
Oh, yeah. And he uses Hamid Overdrive again, too, which was awesome. But, yeah, this Empress, Chumimin, so funny, the back and forth. I mean, this little thing is just biting him, cutting him. I mean, it's just hilarious to see him, like, fight against himself in order to be able to defeat it.
Yeah.
And it was such a crazy reveal that, like, obviously when he defeated the Empress, like, you know, the girl, she exploded into herself and turned into someone different, and I was like, holy shit, that was very graphic.
There was so much here in this fight, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Man, this thing is so itchy and so suffocating. Like at a certain point, I feel like, you know, when is it worth it? You know, I feel like, when is it worth it? That
you've been here before.
Like, when does it start taking away from the episode? And I already feel myself kind of like rushing through things and like trying to get through things.
You've been here before.
Like, yeah, number one, to stay on track, but number two, it's like because I can't wait to freaking get out of this thing.
Take it off.
I should take it off. Huh?
Yeah. Just the muscles for sure.
Just the muscle suit, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take this off so we can get through the episode and then more comfortably get through the episode, and then we'll be back to talk about the Wheel of Fortune.
Woo!
Oh, and we're back. I feel like this is a vibe. This is a look, right?
Yeah.
Dude, my arms are so like red and inflamed and itchy. Like, it looks crazy. It probably won't show up on camera, but
yeah, you were suffering.
I was suffering, and I feel so much better.
Good.
I feel so much better.
It had to happen.
Yeah. We made it a good way. I made it as long as I could. We just got done talking about the Empress, which again was so much fun. I had a blast with that fight and that interaction. Again, to show and remind us of who Joseph is and what he's capable of. Then we get on to Wheel of Fortune, which I felt like was incredibly inspired by
Herbie Fully Loaded.
Herbie Fully Loaded. No, Christine, Stephen King's Christine. It may or may
Christine?
not.
Is that the car one?
Yes.
Is it Christine?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
Christine?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm second guessing you. I know that he has a car story. Or it's like, hello, governor, you know, from regular show as well.
Hello, governor.
Remember the car dream that they kept having? Rigby kept having?
But I think even that was inspired by Christine.
There you have it.
It all goes back. And maybe Christine was inspired by something too. Who knows?
Herbie
Fully Loaded, yes.
Lindsay Lohan.
No, not the original black and white Herbie, the one with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
But Wheel of Fortune was, again, a car stand. There was this very, even the tone, and that's what I like is, you know, not only do the stands themselves and their abilities change, but it's almost like the tone of the show changes, like based on what these stands' abilities are. Like, this became like sort of a mystery thriller sort of. There's this car, and it's like a horror.
Yeah.
There's this car that's like slowly following them. They can't see inside of it, and it's just kind of always there. It keeps following them, and then they get to this place where they think that the driver might be, and then they're interrogating everybody, and then the car slowly drives off and then reappears behind them. It was like, again, the tone, the genre of the story kind of changed too, and that's what I liked about this part as well. The ultimate, like, you know, the fight was cool, but it, you know, wasn't my favorite. I liked it more for the reasons I just stated, I guess.
Oh yeah, and again, like, you know, using gasoline like bullets, like what?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And yeah, just them going through this and like, oh, the car's a stand. Okay, I get it now. and them ultimately at the end when they defeat him, just tying him up and putting up a sign like I'm a monk. Please do not disrupt
And then they
my
took his
practices.
car.
Of course they had to. They didn't have any other way. He ruined theirs.
Yeah. Then we get to Enya the Hag getting justice for her son. Hangman, she has the stand of the card. Justice. This was also, again, a really creative fight. They get into this really strange area, town, where everybody seems like it's a bustling city, but it's covered in this fog, and everybody seems a little off.
Yeah.
There's like a lizard that climbs out of someone's mouth, and there's people who seem dead but alive, and it's just very off and very weird. It's a very, very weird spot. And then Enya the Hag confronts them and tells them that she has a hotel that they can stay in. And
we've seen her throughout, obviously.
Talking to Dio.
Yeah, she's like Dio's right-hand girl. She likes Dio, obviously. When her son died, she
was the one who also told Dio about his stand ability.
Yeah. And she obviously, and also got together the stands that have been going up against them this whole time. So she goes, you know what? F this. Like, all of them got defeated. I'm going to go and do this myself. And she's funny, man. I mean, she's crazy. And her stand power is amazing as well.
No, hers is incredible. I mean, she gets one wound, one cut on you, and it turns into a hole, and she could put her energy through that and put her energy in your hole and make you her puppet, which is kind of what, a lot of people I think might do. They might put themselves in your hole, and then you're just basically their puppet, and you do whatever they want you to, because
blinded.
They're in your hole, and you're like, damn, I don't want them to not be in my hole, so I better do whatever. I better become their puppet and do whatever they want me to do.
It's a little too
much.
Yeah, not a little too much. You're just talking like you're speaking from
experience.
Like past experience. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a universal experience. This was, again, a really cool moment for a lot of reasons. I think it was fun that we see Whole Horse come back. First of all, Jotaro is very suspicious, and I love him in this moment, questioning her, pressing her. Everybody else is like, there's so many red flags all throughout this entire journey, and after everything that they've been through, nothing seems to like arouse suspicion from any of them other than Jotaro. Polnareff even, going so far as to like, really push her buttons, not knowing so. And saying that he could be her son and all, but he's the one who killed her son.
Yeah, so she's like, in her mind, she's like, "Thank you, Daddy," and she's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna squish your balls into mush."
Yeah, dude. And this is again, the Avdol moment really started to. Well, I mean, yeah, Polnareff's first introduction was fun and cool. But it was the Avdol moment, and then it was kind of, I guess, the Hanged Man moment with him and Kakuin, and then really again here with the old hag, the Enya the Hag. Like he was just constantly having these like hilarious moments and winning me over and over again. But the Whole Horse comes back, and Enya's not having it. She takes him out for betraying her son, and ultimately like fleeing, I guess.
Yeah, and he's like, he was already dead, and she's like, I don't care.
She seemingly takes him out, and then has to like hide his body while Polnareff's like talking to her. Then he Whole Horse is not dead. He comes back, and there's this whole moment where she finally does get a cut in on Polnareff, and he's like in the bathroom again. Polnareff in the freaking bathrooms. It's so crazy. And then Jotaro comes in and presses her and finds her out, because he's like, how did you know my name was Jotaro? And he had a light Yagami moment too.
Yeah,
he had a light Yagami moment where she's
really did.
Everybody was calling you Mr. Joe. Oh no, how did you know my name was Joestar?
Last name was Joestar.
And so everybody was calling you Mr. Joestar. Yeah, of course. And he's like, all right. And then again, she called him Jotaro. And he's like, I wrote my name as Kotaro or something like that.
Yeah, Quattro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh fuck! Like I fucked up." And he's like, "I told everyone not to say my name. I didn't write in the book. You
He's
just
smart,
said
dude.
I wrote it in the book, and I didn't. So how do you know my name?"
His plans are so much more clever and practical.
Yep.
This is how. Let me just try to make my point a little bit more clear. That's Jotaro's way of solving it, right? Jotaro's like, I wrote my name down. Joseph would have been too extra about it. Like, how did you know my name was Joseph? And she would have been like, oh, well, because, you wrote it in the guest book. And he would say like something like, aha, but what I did was I made duplicates. I made 3 guest books, okay? And the special kind of ink that I used in the guest book, I'm getting lost in the sauce.
No, yeah, you got lost in the sauce. He gets lost in the sauce. That's his whole thing. He gets a little lost in the sauce.
And there was a special kind of ink that changed. The name would have changed multiple times because the ink, I was controlling the ink to change my name. It was spent too much.
But he said,
and Jotaro's just like simple, like, I got you. You got God.
Yeah. He spends his time wisely.
Yeah. He's a smart guy. And then they're able to take out Enya, the hag, with the justice stand. And this was a really big moment because, again, they take her and they don't want to kill her because they want her to be an informant and to give them information about Dio. And that's where the lover, Steely Dan, with the lover's stand comes in. And there's a moment where he takes her out and she is in disbelief. And Joseph, again, this is another really cool thing. They got to give Joseph credit where credit's due. Joseph jumps in and is like, Dio betrayed you, like your last dying wish, like, you were, now that he's like betrayed you and you're dying, tell us, like, help us, and the way this was portrayed in the anime was like really great. Like, it was really Joseph just thinking on his toes and using the moment to his advantage and really trying to do whatever he could out of disparity or whatever to get this information, thinking, that this might work. If this has a single chance. And, it even gets us to think like this might work. He's making some really solid points. And she doesn't. She's like, I would die for Dio. Like,
Dio, I hold it down for him.
I hold it down for Dio,
I hold it down for I was going to say, Haina is not the right word. But yeah, she holds it down for Dio, hella.
And so she gets taken out as well. Then we move on to the lovers fight, which this was the most frustrating fight of all of them.
It really was. I was like, how are they going to get out of this? Steely Dan is an absolute unit. Wild.
Yeah.
And the introduction to him was so funny. You think he's just a kebab salesman. And you have Joseph bartering with him.
Haggling.
Yeah, the haggling and the whole, you start by this and then you go down and then just going back and forth. And he sells it to him overpriced still, but he thinks he got a deal. And then I think that's where, the hag isn't taken out just yet. She's in the back and then she kind of like wakes up and they're like, oh no, she's awake. And then she's looking at Steely Dan like, no, I've done everything. I haven't done anything bad. Like, why are you here to kill me? And he's just like, yeah. And he ultimately starts to kill her with these flesh buds.
Yeah.
And she's like,
these flesh worms at Dio.
Yeah, the flesh worms. And she's just like, and she's just like dying. Because, obviously she can't stay alive because she just knows too much and he won't give it away. But yeah, the lovers is nasty little bug.
He's a nasty little bug. What I loved about this fight was, again, we kind of get this like little, Ant-Man moment.
For real. Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man moment. I was loving the Ant-Man moment with Chariot.
And to see that like whoever the lovers or whoever Steely Dan has planted the lovers in, like no pain will come to him, but it will come to the person who has the lovers in them. So it is hurting Joseph. It is hurting his grandfather. And it's such a really cool device because it allows him to kind of have this power over Jotaro.
Yeah, you can't kill me because if you kill me, you're going to kill him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
And he's like, I'm the weakest stand technically, but I'm kind of used in the right way. I can be, one of the strongest. And you kind of do feel that.
And he's just fucking with Jotaro the whole time, making him be a bridge.
Walking all over him, making him shine his shoes.
Yep.
And Jotaro starts writing down in this book. And he's like, what are you writing? And he's like, I'm just taking account. This is just your tab. Just keeping a tab on all the things that I got to pay you back for. And I was like, that is the most badass thing I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, literally, like, what?
This is why I was saying like a little bit of my confusion came into, and maybe it was just with Silver Chariot, but Silver Chariot, that would make sense either because Silver Chariot is in this fight as well. But I love the Ant-Man moment, this sort of like shrinking of the stands and being able to go inside of Joseph's body. That's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't just the stands and their abilities, but it was the locations as well too. Like they're going in the human body to have a fight. Like that is fucking awesome. But I understand that Joseph was using his hermit purple to allow them to be able to see inside of his body, but he wasn't showing them like an exact like POV shot of the inside of his body. It was like this graph or something like that. So, it just kind of contradicts a little bit, I feel like, what was happening in the what was that stand again?
The Lovers.
In the Ebony Devil fight, where it's like you have to be able to see where you're at. I was like, how are they doing this? I get Hermit Purple is like the reason, because there was that moment where it kind of they were drawing too much attention, so they had to move or broke or whatever. But I don't know. But yeah, it didn't matter. It was still incredibly awesome, incredibly frustrating. This was probably the most frustrating fight. But a really cool, like almost like Magic School Bus a little bit too.
Yeah, it definitely had those vibes.
I really liked the Lovers.
And I like Steely Dan too. I mean, his hair, like he just looks so sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Lovers are doing a real number on his brain activity.
Brain activity.
And they're having to cut blood vessels, and they are straight up trying to annihilate this thing. Turns out it can make others of it, copies of it, and you're like, how are they going to win? How is this gonna work out? Like, I had no idea. I really didn't.
Yeah, but Hierophant Green comes in to save the day. They're able to take him out, and Jotaro doesn't cash in on the payback, which I thought was pretty crazy. I did want to see him, really just give him all kinds of hell.
Well, because he's begging for his life.
Yeah.
And then he goes like, okay, as long as you don't show your face to me ever again. And he goes, okay, for sure. And then this little bitch tries to go into a girl's ear, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, now I can use this as like collateral. Like, if you hurt her, you're going to hurt me. Like, get ready. And he's like, oh, I bet you didn't notice, huh? And Hierophant Green is attached to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, woo!
Yeah, Hierophant Green is good.
And then he beats his ass. He does beat his ass.
Good.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to get like harsh payback.
Yeah, I wanted him to
and I wanted to see it. I wanted to see all of it.
Yeah. Like to detail.
Yeah. Then they travel through the desert. They meet Arabia Fats or the Sun. Wild. This was crazy. This was like some Twilight Zone shit. Right
it really was. And it was like,
that's what I'm saying, dude. You got Stephen King in Wheel of Fortune. You got freaking Chucky in what's it called? I always forget. Ebony Devil. You got fucking the Magic School Bus, Ant-Man. What's that? Honey, I Shrunk. What is the other one? Osmosis Jones. Whatever you want.
Jones.
In Lovers. Yeah. And you got some Twilight Zone in here. You got some Freddy Krueger in Dead 13. I mean, you got everything. It's got everything.
Ew. You're too hype.
It's awesome. This was Twilight Zone shit. They're in the desert. Time is not changing. Time is not moving the way it should be moving.
Yeah.
And the heat is getting turned up.
Turned down for what?
Turn up the heat for what?
For what? And their poor camels die because of the heat.
That was a funny moment where Joseph's trying to like explain to them how to ride a camel. And they're like, you never even rode a camel. And he's like, I've seen a bunch of them in movies though.
Yeah.
I've seen Arabian Nights.
He's like, I'll trade my car for some camels. And he's like, whoa, this is way too much. He's like, how about that water over there too? And he's like, that's still not enough. Yeah. He's like, I got to do what I got to do. I'm like, oh my God. This guy spends.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's either him or the Speedwagon Foundation. I don't know how they got the money or the funds, but they
got it.
Yeah, millions. Well, I mean, yeah, a good reason. I guess if you got it to spend it on your daughter's life. I mean, I guess you got to put a price on it.
That's true. And they end up like towards the end, you really are like, damn, they're really gonna die out here. They're not gonna make it, and they cannot find the stand user. They have no idea where he's at, and they look at this rock, and before they see the rock or anyone notices the rock or points it out, Kakuin just starts
laughing,
like unbearably, like laughing his head off, and everyone's like, oh my God, he's lost it. The heat's finally gotten to him.
Yeah.
And then Jotaro starts laughing, Polnareff starts laughing, and Joseph's so concerned. He's like, "That's it, we're done.
Yeah,
This is it."
The heat has got to them.
He's got to them, and then they realize, like, look at that rock over there. Someone could be hiding behind that rock, right?
Well, they realize that there's two rocks. Meaning that it's a reflection. So this guy was basically just driving a mirror car behind them that was reflecting, the landscape so they couldn't be seen. And then
and it was so. I mean, I loved the build-up.
It was a Wizard of Oz kind of moment, too, a little bit with the reveal behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Look at the rest of
Yeah. And I love how easily they were just able, once they pinpointed it, it was like, no-brainer, bye.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, this was the stand user the whole time. And he's just like passed out of the car. They're like, guess we could use this
some
car.
of them get resolved pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's what I love, too. I mean, there was like no real fighting. There was fighting within themselves because they were trying to figure it out. The sun was beating down on them. The crazy stand, like, my stand, it's the sun, bitch. Like, what?
Yeah.
But that was awesome. That was an awesome moment. Death 13 might be
one of my favorites for sure.
One of my favorites.
Or you're saying your favorite?
If one of, but probably it's definitely in the top 3.
Death 13 was like
definitely in the top.
Definitely in the top 3, and it was like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. This is exactly what it reminded me of, and I would have to agree it's top 3, and it might be even top 2. I just loved it. It was incredible. Why would you say it was in your top 3 or one of your favorites?
Just because, its ability, right? I mean, obviously the baby aspect was fucking wild, but the fact that when you woke up, you had no idea what happened. So you could just keep falling into its trap without even knowing until you're in it again. And you're like, oh shit, like this is what it was. So I did like Kakyoin, like, writing stand baby on his arm, everyone thinking he's absolutely insane. And also the baby, like, I just think it's so chilling when like something is supposed to act a certain way, like a doll or like something that would never be suspecting, and is just calculating the whole time. And there's one person that'd be like, "Look, see, I told you." And everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" And they're just like getting the upper hand. The baby's like fangs and the things like, "Ha ha ha, you idiots, you fucking dumbasses." Yeah. And it's just like so eerie. And I just liked Kakyoin's like battle between everyone in the group and them kind of just like putting their foot down and being like, "No, you're absolutely insane. How could this baby do this?" And it was just so cool. And the dream world was so cool. And Death 13's ability and the voice actress that played Death 13 and the baby, I loved the voice. And it, like Holly Ho, or was it? I think it was Holly Ho. It was just so, so, so cool. And I mean, it's like a clown, like a Harley Quinn, like it's just so sick. I was obsessed.
Yeah, it definitely, the clown mask is super funny and super kind of scary, but being a baby stand, and we've seen animals, we've seen stands be, and that's why I think Iraqi is flexing, dude, because he's like, yo, stands, you think you know what you are, but let me really show you what they can be. Let me show you everything they can be, not only the stand itself, but the stand user itself. Animals, babies, and like these little like doll thing. I don't know what that thing was.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
I mean, the scorpion.
Yeah.
Scorpion moment was fucking wild.
It was also hilarious too. Because Kakyoin, and this was Kakyoin's time to shine. This was Kakyoin's moment, and he really stepped up. He did the damn thing, and he fed that baby its own shit, and it was fucking awesome.
And it was well deserved.
But this was absolutely incredible. Like you said, the psychological aspect of it too, like always continuing to fall into its trap, never knowing exactly like, whether you're sane or you're insane, and never remembering when you wake up, like always only remembering in the dream world. And I mean, it was really, really awesome. I would have loved, I think this took place over 2 episodes. I wouldn't have minded if it continued. I mean, it was frustrating for sure, because you want your heroes to figure it out, and to see all of them not believe the other guy was like, come on, like, how do you were there? But I really, really enjoyed Death 13 a lot. And come on, dude, that nasty, I can't get it out of my head when he scoops the shit with the spoon and he feeds it to her. I mean, it's just like, it's like a perfect little scoop of the shit right there. Oh, man.
I don't think I've ever seen a baby shit like look
long,
so long and grown
I can't
person
even look at
like
it. Close it.
Usually it's just like a mess. It's just like
it's
it's
a mess.
watery and not
baby.
solid.
It's a stand. He's using his willpower. But yeah, Death 13 is up there, and we'll go back. That's why I want to continue to kind of quickly go through these last 2, because I want to go back and just like if we did have to rank our top 3, and maybe we'll exclude out of the top 3, we'll exclude obviously the Silver Chariot, Hierophant Green. Like, let's just of everybody else they fought. Let's maybe share our top 3. Then we get into Judgment, and this is where and I love that there's a callback to this later too with Death 13. Like, Kakyoin says something later about a dream.
Yeah, he's like,
and
you guys don't remember.
You guys don't remember. And nobody ever does. Well, at least at this point in the story. And that's what's awesome too, is like he does what he does, and no one ever is like, oh, we get it now, or we know that the truth is what it is. The baby was evil the whole time. Nobody ever knows. Nobody ever finds out. And he just lives with this information. Like, so cool. But then we move on to Judgment, and this was really, really cool. Again, I've always felt like, at least Platinum Gold for sure, kind of felt like a genie, and so or looked like a genie kind of. So
Platinum Gold.
I mean Platinum Gold. Why did I say Platinum Gold? Star Platinum. Sorry. Whatever.
I was like, is that a new stand? You're watching the horny one again, I think.
Oh, that was Platinum Gold was because he had a gold.
He was using like magnums.
Right. Yeah, his gold condom. So magnums for sure. Yeah. So he was Platinum Gold. Yeah. And he was really, it was good. Sorry. Star Platinum, I always felt like kind of looked like a genie a little bit.
Oh, a little genie vibes.
Or reminded me he had genie vibes. And that's when we got Judgment, who was like in a lamp and proclaiming to be a genie. I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I love this. And the fact that it granted Polnareff, again, crazy, awesome Polnareff moment. It granted Polnareff the sort of like wish like a Jin would do, a wish and a curse kind of.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah. And the reason why they're here in the first place is to give like Avdol's father the news that he's dead, which was a crazy moment because they're all like, damn, how is he going to take it? I'm going to have to find
He's like, leave me alone. People only come here when they deliver bad news.
And everyone's like, fuck, yeah, we're here to deliver bad news. And everyone is like, damn, how is he going to take this? Like, bitch, you know damn well.
And Polnareff is wrestling.
The whole time.
Polnareff has been wrestling with the shit their entire journey. And he's on this fucking beach and he's like, in my journey to save I can't do a Polnareff. On my journey to avenge my sister, I killed a friend. And he's just like crying and he's so sad.
He's crushed.
And everybody knew.
Everyone knew the whole time. And he's going through it. And he, obviously he's like, oh, make me the richest man. I bet you won't. And he's like, okay. And then he finds treasure. And then he's like, okay, I'll go on a girlfriend. He's like, actually, no. I want this. Actually, no. I want this. And then he goes, can you bring someone back from the dead? And he's just like, I mean, is that what you wish? And he's like, yeah, I want to bring back my sister. And you're like, oh, awesome. Like, if the gene can do this, this will be lit. And he can bring back Polnareff. So that's awesome.
Avdol.
Oh, Avdol. What did I say? He can bring Avdol. I was like, that's so sick. Like, this is awesome. I would have rather had that than what happened. But obviously his sister comes back. And she is like a zombie kind of like zombie vampire / and she goes straight like, oh, you love me so much, brother? Okay, then can I eat you? Can I devour you? Because I'm not a real person yet. Can I devour you? And he's like, shit. I mean, I guess. I don't want to hurt you, so I don't know what to do. And then obviously the genie Judgment's like, oh, you already wished for someone else to be brought back, didn't you? And he's like, no, not Avdol, no. And then Avdol comes back and starts eating him too. And they're just munching.
Undead, yeah.
And he is really just like, you know what? This is what I fucking deserve. Because I couldn't save both of these people, and I deserve to die by their hand. And it just makes sense. And, he's like, I'm letting go. My vision's getting blurry. I think I'm seeing 2 Avdols right now, but that's probably why, because I have to retire early. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being friends with me. Thank you for going on this journey with me. I'm gonna die here.
And nope, it was the real Avdol. Avdol never fucking died. Whole horse's bullet grazed his head. Now he's got a big old hole in his head, bruised his skull, whatever. He's back.
He was fine.
This was so underwhelming, and everybody knew. Everybody knew.
Everyone knew. And yeah, they're just like, they resolve it. He kills his own sister, but she's dirt, so he's like, you're just a copy, so you're not the real thing. And then they find the stand user who's underground in a breathing hole.
That was the best part of the whole thing.
Avdol goes
down the pipe.
He goes, I want to leave
blowhole.
I want to leave a match. I want to leave this. I want to leave a bug. I want to leave all this. And then he still doesn't come up. And then he's like, hey, you want to drain the snake? I really need to drain the snake. And they just start pissing in this thing.
That was everything.
That was everything. Yeah. And then he's like, damn, Avdol, you changed. You would have never proposed something like this. I guess like being on the brink of death really brought that humor out of you. That silliness.
And I thought at least maybe Avdol's personality was going to be different now because it did, get him pretty deep. And maybe this was going to be the new Avdol. He was going to be a little more unhinged, a little crazier. Like, yeah, let's piss in this dude's face or down his throat, in his mouth. But no, it was just for that moment, which was cool because it was like some revenge for Polnareff and what Judgment Stand user did.
And then this next moment, I mean, he's like, everyone is going to be so excited to see you're alive. Everyone, guess what? Avdol's alive. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's get going. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
And it's like played for a joke. Like his whole suffering, everything he's been through is played for a fucking
It was undercut, and I did not appreciate it.
A gag. Yeah. And I understand, like, we are no strangers to fake out deaths. I mean, we read One Piece. Like, we get it. Like, I understand. It does not bother me. What bothers me is to just lie to this man. I guess it was for this moment, but the moment was undercut. It was for a gag. Poor Polnareff having to deal with this shit, not only because of his sister, but also another person that he, like, quote unquote killed. Like, it was just so sad. And I felt he was like crying, and he's like, you guys, like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you tell me? And they're like, well, I mean, it just happened. So, I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, I felt like that was the only moment I wasn't really completely like over the moon about. But it is what it is. It had a lot of good and one moment of like a little disappointment.
Yeah.
It didn't ruin the overall experience for me. Then we get into the final sort of matchup. They get a submarine. They're almost to Egypt, and they come across the high priestess.
Which was wild. I mean, this might have been the craziest one they've gone up against yet. Obviously, in a submarine. Even Jotaro's like kind of stressed. He's like, you realize that we're like in like below sea level, like so quote below sea level. Like anything could happen to us if we get caught up in one of these stand fights again. Like we're done.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And I'm like, when is it ever fine for you guys?
Yeah.
Listen to this man.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, High Priestess shows up.
What was really cool about this moment though is that Joseph got to call Suzy Q again and talk to her, and we get to see kind of what she's up to and how he's been leaving her out of this information. She gets to talk to her grandson again, and we get to see, a little bit more of that. And so it does bring the familial sort of aspect back into it again, which I really liked and appreciated.
Yeah.
But the stand fight itself was very terrifying, jumping from like object to object. And I loved that there was one stipulation being that it had to have minerals, whatever it jumped into. And that was really cool. And it kind of ends with this like giant face coming out of the sea floor or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, obviously I can use minerals. And I love that moment too, especially with Jotaro, because she's like, I heard you and I saw you. You are my type, but now I have to kill you.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, just play it up, play it up, play it up. And he's like, yeah, you probably would have been my type too if I could see, your face, but I guess that's not going to happen. So, I mean, maybe we could have worked it out. Maybe we could have done something. And all of them are like, complimenting her. Like, yeah, your voice is very beautiful.
Yeah,
I could tell you're a beauty
funny.
Based off of how you sound. And she kind of just like blushes, and then she's like, you guys are all fucking lying to me. I'm gonna kill you now.
Yeah.
And he gets caught between, a rock and a mole place.
Oh.
Holy moly. Am I right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or am I wrong? No, but I think he got crushed by molars, but he ended up being fine because he his way out.
Yeah. And this is the last stand user that they had to get through before they arrive in Egypt. It's been a long journey, a crazy journey, a bizarre journey, but they finally arrive in Egypt. And we get a nice little flashback to all the fights that they've had leading up to this point. And I'm so excited to see
what a fucking journey.
What happens after.
What a journey.
Before we give our final thoughts and go on, I do just want to say, Mehgan, I would love to know your top 3
okay.
Top 3 stand battles.
My top 3 would be definitely, not in any order, just top 3. Would be definitely Death 13.
Okay.
If you could scroll up a little bit just so I could see. So I like Death 13. I really liked Strength, obviously, just because it was so fucking wild. And I would have to say it's between the Lovers and I forget, if you could scroll down a little bit, Empress.
Okay.
I'm like torn.
Okay.
I'm definitely torn.
Those are solid picks. Picks. I would have to say Death 13 for sure. Hanged Man would be in my top 3.
Hanged Man and Whole Horse, or just
that fight.
That
fight, that first fight. Death 13, Hanged Man. And I might throw, for me, Justice was funny because again, Polnareff sort of made that moment really funny.
Yeah.
But I'll throw Lovers in there. So for me, it was Lovers, Hanged Man, and Death 13. Those were my 3. So yeah, we had one in common, right? Lovers, you said was like you were torn, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, but I did just like the Empress, like back and forth between.
Yeah,
it just like Joseph got to shine
Yeah.
more, which I love. So I think it's Death 13, Empress, and Strength, just because, I mean, Strength, like what the fuck?
That's
like,
crazy.
Monkey, like orangutan bitch, like.
So your honorable
shit.
mention would maybe be Lovers, and I think my honorable mention would be Empress then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is our discussion, but not our final thoughts. I just want to say again that I had such an incredible time watching this. I think it totally worked for me, the switch from reading it to watching it. Now, I know that might not be the case for every single part. We're still kind of going back and forth on like how we should consume what. But I think this completely, I did a 180. It completely won me over. It sold me this fucking series. I feel like I get it. I feel like it has everything. I've said it in the episode before, but already we have so many, just so many things in this one thing. I understand that episodic in nature, might have turned some people off, and it might have felt repetitive, redundant, and they might have gotten fatigued. But I think for me, it was a way for Iraqi to show what he has in store and what is capable with stands going forward. So creative, so different, so funny, so fun, so epic, so sick. And again, there's a little bit of everything. Are you kidding me? Like I said, we got all kinds of genres, all kinds of tones, all kinds of abilities, and they were done so extremely well and creative. There's something for everybody in this, and this was the part. This is why JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, at least as it stands right now, will always be one of my favorite parts because it'll be the moment that I came around. It'll be the moment that it won me over, and I'm in it for the long haul now. I absolutely love this, and can finally consider myself like a fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
But what about you? What are some?
Good.
Thank you.
Again, like I said in the beginning, like I do think, the travel aspect of going to real life places, getting information on these real life places was so cool. To learn about the cultures and the people that live there was just so awesome to see. I feel like, in anime and manga, it is usually set in one place or set in a place that doesn't exist. So it was really cool to see places that do exist and how that can affect like traveling and just like people's interactions. Obviously the stands are so fucking dope. Like you said, all of them are super unique. Their skill sets are amazing, and just they're all, most of them are very formidable, which I liked, and I just really enjoyed how interesting they were. And also, I mean, the music, come on now. I mean, I love the OST as it is. And then, like, if you would have told me that ever, I would have heard, like, Walk Like an Egyptian, from the freaking Bangles as an ED in an anime.
Yeah.
I would have been like, you're smoking crack. Like, you're smoking crack. There's no way. And it was such a cool touch that I was so pleasantly surprised to hear and see in an ED in an anime, not just like a freaking, what is it called? What are they called? Music videos?
AMV?
AMVs. Yeah, right. It's not just AMV. It's like a literal, like, oh, this is canon AMV, which was awesome. And obviously, Joseph Oldstar. I mean, he was awesome. I really came around to him as an overall character. He was super entertaining, super fucking funny. Every time he was on screen or on page, he just commanded that, like, just like loving dad who kind of like is very embarrassing at times, and you're like, Dad, you can't say that. Or like, Dad, you lived in a time where that was okay, but you can't say that anymore. Like that type of like dynamic. And Jotaro was so badass, and I was rooting for him the whole time. And just situation like, Joseph's like trying to save his daughter, but like Jotaro's trying to save his mom. Like his mom is the only person he has. Like, he doesn't have, a dad even. Like, it's just him and his mom. And
well, he does, but his dad is, I don't know where.
I don't know where. His dad's
another
Dio.
Another anime
His dad's Dio. Imagine.
Well, they say he has a dad, and it's not Dio.
No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, all of the characters, all of them stood out. All of them had great moments, and it was just so entertaining. Definitely my favorite part of JoJo thus far. I did enjoy part 2, but part 3 just takes the cake with all of these new concepts that it's getting introducing us to, and I'm so excited to see more stands, more fights. And I can't wait. And there is one particular
I
one particular
know.
character that I've seen floating around, not just because I've been looking into it, because if if you're in the anime and manga sphere,
I
you've seen him
know.
around, and I cannot wait. I cannot fucking wait. I'm so excited for this character to be introduced, and that'll happen very soon.
Yeah.
And I can't. I'm so excited.
Mehgan, you really hit it out of the park. I mean, you're absolutely right. Everything you said, I second it. Old Joseph, Jotaro, their motivations, the stands, goodbye, Haman. I mean,
Goodbye,
for real, yeah, that's how we should
Haman.
end the episode.
Na, na, na,
But
na, na.
I everything you said, I completely agree with. I second it. I had such a good time, and yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to keep going. But while that is going to do it for our discussion on the first half of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust
Part
Crusaders.
3, Part 1.
This is our Part 3, Part 1 video.
So
we
many
are
parts.
not done yet. Before we go, we have to shout out and we have to thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing Patreon and YouTube members. Thank each and every single one of you guys for your support from the bottom of our heart. It means the freaking world to us, and thank you. Shout out to our community and the person in our community who sent us the cosplay that you see in this episode, Mehgan's pink shirt and my entire cosplay.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. We really, I mean, this is another reason and more evidence as to show and to prove and to show that we cannot do the show that we do at the level that we do it, at the production level and value that we try to put into every episode. We can't do it without you guys.
No.
You guys are the reason we're doing it the way we're doing it, and we are eternally grateful. And we hope that you enjoy watching it, and we hope it's worth it because we are astonished and blown away each and every day by everybody who chooses of their own free will to support us financially. That gives us so much freedom, and it's freedom that like I said, we wouldn't have without you, and we wouldn't be able to use to put back into the show. So thank you again. It means the absolute world to us. Thank you.
We love you guys so much
for your support. We love you so much. But if you are not a Patreon or YouTube member and you would like to become one, all you got to do to become a Patreon member is go to patreon.com/volume1pod. And all you got to do to become a YouTube member is click join somewhere next to the subscribe button on this video. What that gives you is early access to all of our content, as well as access to our exclusive bonus Patreon podcast, Volume 1 Extra, where we do those bi-monthly, and we talk about, anime and manga, but we talk about everything outside of that. But it also now gives you access to extended, uncut versions of all of our anime reactions. We're reacting to Bleach, Chainsaw Man, even One Piece. So it gives you the uncut, uncensored access to all of that. If you're part of the YouTube membership program, you get access to emotes and member comments. You can gift memberships to people during the lives, which is so much fun. So you get so many perks. We try to make it, worth it.
Yeah.
And we try to give you all these things at the lowest tier on both places. I think it's like $3 on Patreon, $5 on YouTube. We get the same amount. It's just because of the cuts that each place take out. But we try to give you all these perks at our lowest tier. And you could donate more if you can or if you want to, but we want to make everything accessible to everybody. Once again, if any of that sounds interesting to you, or you just want to support the show, then you could do that by becoming a Patreon member and go to patreon.com/volume1pod, or to become a YouTube member, all you got to do is click join somewhere next to the subscribe button on this video.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're at a place in your life where you cannot support financially, or you just flat out don't want to, please also never feel bad about that. Never feel bad about it, because there are plenty of other ways you can show your support for absolutely free that Mehgan will tell you all about right now.
Yes. What should I do? What's something JoJo? If you have no more life
If you have no more
Life
Haman to
force.
spare.
If you have no more Haman to spare, that's good. If you have no more Haman to spare, no problem, no sweat. Definitely, you do not have to support financially if you cannot. But if you would like to support us in any way, you definitely can by liking and commenting on any of one of our videos. You can comment anything you want. You can comment a comment, you can comment a period, you can comment an emoji, literally anything, because it definitely helps us and acts as a free tip to us in our channel. And it spreads our episodes far and wide throughout YouTube, and it really does help us out so much. Liking the video, subscribing. We also have social medias too, Twitter, Instagram. We have a Discord community that's really awesome. There's so many things in there that you guys can talk to other community members about. And it is such a fun place, and everyone's just so positive. And if you're looking for a safe space to talk about anime and manga, very respectable, definitely check it out. It'll be all linked below. And that's pretty much it. If you want to to support us for free 99.
And all of these things, they really do mean the world to us. So again, even if it's not, you showing your support financially, like all these other things really do help us out a lot. Sharing with other JoJo fans, sharing this content, leaving a review if you're listening on audio platforms, like following on socials. I know everybody tells you to do it, but they tell you to do it for a reason. It helps us out so much, and it means just as much to us. So if you're looking for other ways to support for free, then all of those ways are the way to do it. And we really appreciate those as well, equally as much. But that is going to do it for another installment of Volume 1's Bizarre Adventure. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today, Mehgan, is
Goodbye, Haman.
All right, I like it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for any and all ways you choose to show your support. And until next time,
goodbye, Haman.